Hello dear viewers and welcome to RTD's English News Edition, the top stories. The Minister of the Environment is working visit to the rural communities of Weimar. Signals can damage the memory of young people. We're going to open this edition with a condolence message of the President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, who today paid tribute on Monday to the memory of the late Hussein El Tirawais, a Djiboutian notable from the Ali Sabih region who died this morning. In his tribute, President Guelleh described the late Djiboutian notable as a brave patriot who always put his energy at the service of promoting the general interests of his country. He will long be engraved in the memory of Djiboutians for his greatness of heart and his willingness to work permanently for the rapprochement of his compatriots, said the President of the Republic. Customary authority respected until outside the Djiboutian borders, particularly in Somalia and Ethiopia, where he was often asked in disputes between communities. He was one of the few wise men still mastering at the fingertips reconciliation in the traditional way under the palliative tree, said the head of state, a patriarch, the head of a large family. He leaves behind many children and grandchildren. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Now move on to national news. The Minister of Environment, Mr. Musa Muhammad Ahmed, along with the Prefect of the region Abdul Malik Muhammad Benoita and the main executive of his department, including Mr. Hussein Rirash Roble, Director of the Environment and Sustainable Development, made a working visit to Adailu to see firsthand the progress of the activities carried out under the project entitled Support for Adaptation to Climate Change in Rural Communities. From the outset, the Minister and his delegation were warmly welcomed by traditional dances, applause and shouts from the inhabitants of Adailu. Immediately after the delegation led by the Minister, Musa Muhammad Ahmed began the visit at the drilling located in the locality Adailu to Eselo. The Minister, welcomed by the inhabitants of this locality, said that his department will make necessary arrangements to make this drilling operational. Then the delegation went to see a tank operated in the village of Tehran. Indeed, the Minister reminded that his department is carrying out 15 period tanks distributed throughout the region of Adailu. Then the delegation visited the room planned to house a training workshop for the Gambian factory. In the village of Adailu, indeed, the Gambian is a large metal cage that is used to make Gambian a threshold that can retain or slow down the runoff. Then the delegation went successively to the Gaur nursery and then they went to nursery activities in the Adailu sector is in support of climate change adaptation of rural communities in mountainous regions. And during the visit to Adailu, the Minister Musa Muhammad Ahmed and his delegation was accompanied by the Prefect of Tajara, Mr. Abdul Malik Muhammad Benoita. The Prefect congratulated the Minister of the Environment and his team for the many achievements in the sector to improve access to water. Today, thanks to the achievements, the Prefect of Tajara is not asked to supply water to the population of Adailu. 2 years ago, each time, he said, the alert was launched to relieve the thirst of the inhabitants who were in surplus in summer with the arrival of the holy, as well as the drilling, the construction of Gambian and the establishment of a Gambian manufacturing unit will be very important, he said, for the success of the programs executed by the Ministry of the Environment and its team on the whole of the Weimar sector. And for his part, the Minister in charge of Environment, Musa Muhammad Ahmed, explained during an interview that to curb the effects of climate change in the Weimar sector, our priority is to make water accessible by the combination of several techniques to know, either by drilling and threshold of reservoirs of water or period citerns. This way, we will provide an answer to the needs of the people, he said. The Minister welcomed the progress of activities in the Weimar sector. We have already completed, he continued, a drilling in Adailu, and that we will enhance with the creation of agricultural perimeters around, and we will grant a significant quota for women of Adailu. The Minister recalled that his department is carrying out 15 underground tanks distributed throughout the region of Adailu. they allow to retain when it rains, because these buried tanks are built according to the slopes of runoff of rainwater, he said. He also announced that the nurseries will be used in the program of reforestation and training of gardeners in the region. Offensive zones have been created to reduce the impact of overgrazing. He recalled that the activities of the project will contribute to the improvement of the living conditions of the rural and vulnerable populations by offering them the opportunities to create income-generating activities. And this is in accordance with the policy led by the President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, he concluded. After visiting the various sites of the climate change adaptation project in the Wayman sector, the Minister in charge of the Environment, Mr. Musa Muhammad Ahmed, and the Prefect of the Joro region, as well as the managers of his department, met with local chiefs in the village of Adailu. The representative of the population from all localities, namely Adoila Gaura and Definitu, thanked the minister and the delegation, as well as the Prefect Abdul Malik, for this visit to Adailu to see firsthand the progress of the activities implemented in the framework of support for the climate change. Discussions with the inhabitants were fruitful and recommendations were made, including a request to increase the number of underground tanks. The minister and his delegation took good note of the grievances of the population of Weimar in order to provide a rapid response in accordance with the wish of the President of the Republic, who gave priority to the development. The Minister of Labor and Reform Administration, Hassan Idris Samirre, received this morning the Ambassador of the United States of America, Mr. Larry Andre. This first meeting with the American diplomat was held in the presence of the Secretary General of the Ministry of Labor and the General Manager of the ANIFEB. On the menu of this interview, the relations between the two countries and the ways and means to strengthen them are discussed, among which the wishes to see the number of the Djiboutian employees increase in the Camp Lemonnier. The agenda also includes training for young people looking for a job in order to give them the means to work. And at the end of these talks, the Minister of Labor recalled the excellent relations between Djibouti and the United States. For his part, the U.S. ambassador indicated that he was willing to follow the program in the field of youth employability and training. The Chief of the General Staff of the Army Forces, Lieutenant General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, received on Monday, July 23, in his office, the General Staff of the Armies, a delegation of French forces stationed in Djibouti, led by General Duquesne. The purpose of this ceremony was to decorate the French staff working with the Djiboutian army forces who have arrived at the end of their long stay in Djibouti. These deserving decorations testify to the remarkable work done by the French forces stationed in Djibouti throughout their stay in Djibouti within the framework of the relations of cooperation between France and the Republic. General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim decorated the senior officers of the National Orders Officer Medal of June 27 and the Knight's Medal of the National Order of June 27 as a professional committed effort. Finally, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim wished an excellent return to the French delegation. In his speech Turkish Lieutenant General Zekeriya Sheikh Ibrahim did not fail to express his warm congratulations to the French delegation for their victory at the 2018 World Cup and to send them their best wishes on the occasion of the National Day, the French Republic of July 14th. Also, the Chief of the General Staff of the Army Forces recalled the close ties that unite the two countries and asked the recipients to become ambassadors of the Republic of Djibouti wherever they will be assigned upon their return to their country. 30 health professionals took part in a training workshop held in INAP with the support of SECRA as part of the administrative reform aimed at bringing together health care institutions. This training workshop was launched yesterday morning by the Secretary General, Dr. Saleh Bunaita, in the presence of SECRA Executive Secretary Mr. Muhammad Awaldi and the Director of INAP, Mr. Shirmaki Idris. The purpose of this training workshop is also to highlight the dynamics of hospital administration in the reception of patients and users through the Citizen Service Statement Program, which is part of a government strategy for development and reinforcement the capabilities of the caregivers. The objective of this training is thus to reinforce the capacities of the medical staff by giving them essential topics in the field of communication, coordination, and reception in order to increase their commitment and their effectiveness to satisfy the patients and users in the best possible way. In the context of economic and social development, the Ministry of Women and the Family began on July 8 the second phase of mutuals, which will be held from 8 to 24 July in 20 new localities of the 5 regions. After Arta, Obak, Tajara, and Diqil in the framework of this community of the second phase, another team composed of technical advisors of the Ministry of Women and Family visited the region of Al Sabih to proceed with the presentation of certificates to the beneficiaries of this region who have benefited from the alphabetization program and to young entrepreneurs. 256 literate women, while 433 enrolled and 11 young entrepreneurs trained on 50 enrolled have received their certificates. The ceremony was held in the Social Center of Empowerment of Women in the region of Ali Sabih, was attended by the technical advisor of the Ministry of Women and Family, Ms. Nabila Salman Hassan, the Vice President of the Regional Council, Mr. Daoud Said Gildon, and beneficiaries of the two trainings. As part of the daily operations, elements of the Korankar surveillance and control station intercepted in the night of 22 and 23 July a boat of Yemeni type transporting 88 candidates for illegal immigration of origin Ethiopian, Somali, and Eritrean. 88 candidates for immigration, including a man, 70 men and 18 women were embarked aboard this boat. The intervention of the Coast Guard helped to rescue these immigrants and save their lives from a shipwreck on the high seas following engine failure. The boat was escorted to the Korankar post and then to the operations directorate at the fishing port, where the Coast Guard provided food, water, and medical assistance to the illegal immigrants. The investigations into this arrest has been entrusted to the Coast Guard Research Investigations and Judicial Affairs Brigade, and the responsible individuals will be brought to justice while the boats are seized and detained at the port awaiting for a court decision. And now moving on to the international news, a Asian boulder dislodged from western wall crashes down near women at prayer. More in this video.
Footage shows large stone coming loose from a holy site shattering on equestrian prayer platform below Lansenior and Daniela Colper, 79, but she is hand-harmed. A large boulder from the western wall was dislodged from the ancient structure on Monday morning, tumbling down onto a equestrian prayer platform. There were no injuries in the ancient near European arch south of the main prayer plaza, but the rock planned very close to a female worshipper. The smaller of two platforms designated for mixed gender prayer at the side was closed until followers noticed. The fallen pole weighed about 22 pounds, 100 kilo, Israel already say.
In Canada, at least 3 dead after a man opens fire in downtown Toronto with Hindi Ibrahim.
shot 14 people, killing 2 of them before dying after an exchange of gunfire with police late Sunday. Monica Handen, a spokeswoman for the province's Special Investigations Unit, said 3 people, including the gunman, had died. No further details were given on the second victim, whose date was announced on Monday, but police had previously said that a 9-year-old girl was in a critical condition.
And with this reportage, we will discover how mobile phones may be affecting the memory of the teens. More in this video.
Take waves released by a mobile phone could have a detrimental effect on the development of the memory in adolescents. Lower fertility rate, brain cancer, sleep disorder. For several years, the effect of the electromagnetic field on humans have been halted, despite recently scientists have also been trying to determine if this wave is increasingly present in our daily lives because of technology could have an impact on our health. And according to a recent study by Swiss health study TPH, the radiation released by our mobile phones could affect the development of memory of adolescents. This work will be published in full on Monday, July 23 in the journal Environmental Health Perspective. On the other hand, scientists SMS message, playing games or surfing the internet on one's phone expose the brain to very weak electromagnetic radiation and was not associated by the researchers with any memory problem among young people. Since such experiences are relatively new, Martin Rosalie recommends further research on the subject.
And that's all for this edition. Thank you for being with us.